Hi, I'm Mark Davison, author of the forthcoming book Pharmaceutical Anti-Counterfeiting and founder of the Authentication Academy seminar series. I spend my time trying to help people and corporations to keep it real. Most industries are now under increasing attack from fakes, but there are ways we can fight back. In this video, I'm going to give you a brief overview of just one of those countermeasures. I'm going to look at what's happening in the world of serialization. Now, for those of you not yet familiar with that field, serialization is the process of giving every pack that you make a unique numerical identification. Now, I've just written a short report for securingpharma.com which looks at what's happening with serialization in the pharmaceutical world. So I'm going to take that as an example for this video. But the principles of how this system works apply in other areas too, and my company Blue Sphere Health is working with brand owners across a number of industries in this area. So, serialization, what does it mean? Of course, it's nothing to do with cornflakes or Cheerios. It involves the addition of a unique serial number to every unit pack that you make. So, in other words, if universally applied, this system would mean that each of the billions of units of pharmaceuticals, to take that example, in the global supply chain could be individually identified with a unique number. Imagine you can pick out a single pack of your drug amongst millions of background items of the same thing. The benefits are huge, and not just in anti-counterfeiting. Being able to recall items by individual serial number means that manufacturing quality issues can be dealt with at much finer resolution than we can currently do. Partial batch recalls alone could save millions of dollars. Being able to check and monitor product returns properly can also save significant money. Return goods are a normal part of commerce in every industry, but in some cases they have become an avenue for the insertion of counterfeits, or simply false claims for returns. Traceability through serialization of each pack would help to prevent those expensive frauds. So, if the benefits of putting a unique number on every item that leaves the factory mean that serialization is a complete no-brainer, why isn't everybody doing it already? Good question, and there are a whole host of reasons, but most of them boil down to complexity and cost. Well, let's take complexity first. Putting a code onto a single pack is relatively straightforward. You can use an inkjet printer to print a number, or you can use a barcode or a two-dimensional matrix code, or you can attach a label with an RFID chip. Number of ways you can make the code apply to the pack. Now try scaling that to full production speeds. Try putting the codes on at speeds of hundreds of packs per minute. Remember, each code is unique, so this has quality implications too. The code must not only be printed, but also verified as correct and readable. That means you need high-speed printers, high-speed vision systems. You need a way of removing any goods that are miscoded. That means you need ejection systems on the line. All of these things may not have been there before you started serializing. And then, what do you do with those errors? You can't afford to throw away good product, particularly if it's a high-value pharmaceutical, so you need a reintroduction process. And then what about the dead codes on those packs, the misprinted codes, those numbers? What are you going to do with those? You'll also need to generate, print, verify and store millions, probably billions of codes for long periods of time. So IT is an issue too. What about your back office environment? Do you want to integrate with anything else? SAP, for example. All of these issues add complexity. They're all feasible and they've all been achieved, but they take time and they need specialist expertise. Now, there are excellent vendors who can help with those implementation processes, but they have finite resources, and this is a key message that I'm finding. Unlimited resources are not available to crack this problem. Then throw in the rest of the system. So coded product is only the first stage. A security and traceability system based on serialization needs those codes to be verified somehow during the product's journey to the customer. So who does what? Who does the code verification? When do they do it? Who pays for the scanners? The scanners for two-dimensional matrix codes are not the same scanners that we use for the barcodes that we see in our supermarkets every day. So an upgrade's required. Who's going to pay? Who maintains all those databases that we need? How do they talk to each other? The European Union has 27 members. I'm imagining there isn't going to be one database in the European Union, so how do those 27 different national databases, as a minimum, talk to each other? All these issues have to be addressed and solved. Let's take the second issue of cost. That's also been a real blocking issue in the past. Now, it's true that serialization requires upfront investment, but in my personal view, this has been slightly overstated in the past. If you extrapolate the cost of small pilot projects up to full production volumes, you get a huge number, a falsely inflated number, and that has sent CFOs around the world running for cover. Even though with all the efficiencies and economies of scale that we know we can achieve, even with those built in, it's still going to take substantial investment to comply with these regulations. So all of these things have meant that the seemingly great idea of serialization has taken a long time to happen, at least in pharma. But things are changing. The time when executives could delay thinking about serialization or traceability and defer the cost, defer the headache, are over. In February this year, the European Union approved the Falsified Medicines Directive. This will mean that traceability is highly likely to be mandatory in Europe within 4 or 5 years at most. And in the US, the Food and Drug Administration is also moving towards a federal drug traceability system. Even if they don't do that, even if there's no federal system anytime soon, California, which accounts for 20 to 25% of US drug sales, has mandated traceability, or e-pedigree as they call it, beginning 2015 for some drugs. 4 years' time. Around the world, Turkey and Brazil have systems in place or are already planned. China, South Korea and India have moved in this area. The whole world is waking up to the potential of serialization. So what does this mean for your business? If you're well down the track in your serialization activities, then you'll be well prepared for the challenges ahead. But if you're only just starting, you need to move fast. During the research for my report, I interviewed executives from key technology vendors and from global consultancies. And it's clear that there will be a resource crunch over the next few years in some areas. Key vendor capabilities in terms of systems and installation capacity may become limiting steps for some customers. In other words, if you're late, you might have to wait in line. Now, the implementation phase of serialization should also not be understated. There are key critical problems that will happen in the early stages. Often the initial reject rates when you start coding product can be as high as 20 to 25%. That means that 1 in 4 of the packs traveling down your production line will be rejected by the quality system because the code is missing or illegible or wasn't recorded properly. Now, these rejection rates come down, but they don't come down immediately. It takes work, it takes time, and it takes people. This isn't plug and play technology. It needs specialist engineers, guys with wrenches and screwdrivers, inky fingers, and specialist knowledge in their heads. It means downtime, it means revalidation of your line, and it needs database integration and expertise too. Most legacy systems can be accommodated with these new serialization platforms, but that takes time. So the take-home message from the report is that serialization is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to protect your customers, to defend your products, and to improve your supply chain processes. But it isn't cheap, it isn't easy, and it does take time. The legal compliance aspects are also going to be complex. Many of the global traceability initiatives use compatible numbering systems from the standards organization GS1 typically, but there are some significant outliers and there are many local variations on the theme too. So you don't have the luxury of procrastination anymore. If you sell in any of the major global markets, you need to get started on serialization right now. So read the full report to get the background on this developing area. It gives detail on the major global initiatives, and much more of that critical first-hand information from industry executives, from vendors and from consultants. The report's available now at securingpharma.com. If you want to know more about the broader aspects of product authentication, I'll be leading a 2-day seminar in June in London, which will be a full-scale course on how to keep your products safe, focusing not just on pharma, but taking perspectives from related industries, such as food and beverage, medical devices and consumer goods too. So you can see authenticationacademy.com for details. My name's Mark Davison, and thanks for watching.